Good afternoon, winners. Happy Sunday to you. 2021 is your year. I see we have a full house today. Can you guys hear me okay? Just want to make sure you guys are hearing me. Everybody says yes. Thank you for that microphone check. I'm working on a totally different computer. And yeah, you start 15 minutes early and you end up starting 1 minute late. Sorry about that, guys. Let's see here. Let me see if I can find our guests quickly. That one says waiting for name. Let's go down here and see if we can find our guests from down under. Well, there's Jake. Jake, I'm going to unmute your mic, my friend. That's the wrong person because everybody's jumping in. It's moving around a lot. Jake, I have unmuted you, buddy. Please unmute yourself on your control panel there. You'll need to, there you go. How you doing, Jake?
Not bad. Yourself? Monday morning here.
Yeah, very nice. Nice to have you, my friend. Let me unmute Jeff. I've got him coming on now. Let's see here. Unmute Jeff. Jeff, you're unmuted, my friend. Please unmute yourself. There you are. How are you doing, buddy?
Hey, how's it going, everyone?
It's going great, man. It's going great. So listen, nobody else will be able to talk but George, myself, and you and Jake. Other folks might have a question or two here or there, but we won't go to that until we get through some important stuff. First, let me introduce you guys. For all you folks listening today, we are having Jeff Zylstra and Jake. What is your last name? Jake Boyle?
Jake Boyle.
Boyle. Okay, I didn't want to butcher it. These guys are these guys are from Caleb and Brown. Jeff is my personal Conrad over there, and he's helped me out now for a good 2.5 years. I think I started originally with Jackson, and then he moved me over to Jeff, which at the time I was going, I'm not sure I want to do this, but boy, am I glad I did. And I have worked a couple times with Jake. He's been filling in the gaps sometimes for Jeff, and he's a joy to work with as well. But anyway, we can't say enough good things about you guys, and we sure are appreciative. I know hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of people, probably now I could get to thousands of people that have had their day saved by Caleb and Brown. And so, and that basically means you two, as well as your other comrades over there. So anyway, welcome to our live stream this afternoon. We've got a few questions for you, but if you want to just say hello to the folks, Jeff and Jake.
Hey, how's it going? Really happy to be here.
Thanks for having us.
Really exciting to be on a live stream with all of you guys. And for those that have been with Jay for years, like how exciting is it? Everyone's put in so much work during the bear market, and it's really brought us here. And Jay, your battle-hardened shepherd, thanks for obviously believing in him, and also believing in us and helping us do what we do best. Because we're the other 50%, I guess, if you could put it that way. So just a lot of gratitude out to everyone out in Jay's group at the moment.
Yeah, absolutely. Jake, feel free to say hello for a second, then we'll get cranking.
Yeah, perfect. Well, thanks for having us on. And I believe if it's our morning here, then it must be a bit late. And it's on your Sunday as well. So I definitely appreciate you taking off your 1 day break for the week to have us on board. So certainly appreciate that. And further to what Jeff said then, it's been a real pleasure speaking to some clients, particularly ones from 2018 who were buying Litecoin and all these coins when they were like right down at the bottom, and sticking through all those years. And it's such a pleasure seeing those results that we're now seeing in the market now. So hats off to everyone who's kind of stuck around and braced themselves through the bear periods. And we look forward to 2021.
Absolutely. Yeah, and let me throw that thank you right back at you, Jake, and to you, Jeff. You guys, you not only are the only people out there that we can find that run a boutique service where you can actually, have a phone conversation with your broker. But in addition to that, you guys work a good, 16 plus hours every day. You do that even on the weekends. You're having to be creative to find time off, or maybe when the market's not so busy. And so for your dedicated efforts, I want to thank you guys as well. I personally have made it my goal and hope that I can always keep it to never really have to call, Jeff in the middle of the night and say, hey man, get up, we got to make millions here. But I mean, he's told me that I can, but I just don't want to. Like, I mean, I love the fact that he gets to rest and he gets to take a little time off. So anyway, thank you to both of you. You guys have served this team tirelessly, and I am very appreciative of that. So
Oh,
thank
thanks.
you.
Appreciate that.
Thanks,
Hmm.
Jay.
Yeah. So anyway, let's get into just a few things. I don't want to keep you guys too long. I know that it's your Monday morning. I'm sure you've probably already got orders coming in here and there. And with Bitcoin going down, there's probably a lot of people so scared they got to sell their Bitcoin right now.
It's all
But
good. We
anyway,
have dedicated people looking after our stations while we're in here. So
oh,
anything
good.
that needs to be done can still be done. So it's all good.
Good, good, good. Well, there's a lot of folks here that I think know the drill. And so what I was hoping we would do, we've got a tremendous amount of new people, and I know some of them are having trouble getting their accounts set up, mostly because they just struggle navigating email and actually looking in their spam folders or whatever. And so there's some of that. But I just thought maybe we would go through a couple questions with you guys. Can you tell these guys what is the best way not only to get their account set up, as far as getting it done quickly and not being so far down the till, and as far as keeping up with you guys communication wise on email, but then also second to that, I'd love to go to a part two question and tell these folks what the process is to place an order, send you crypto. A lot of them are going, how do we use the Caleb and Brown exchange? And I'm going, it's not an exchange, it's a boutique broker. Like, they're your broker. You can call them up and say, hey, I'm sending you my coins and I'd like to sell them, or I'd like to trade them, or I'd like to do whatever. So let's take those couple things first. First of all, what would be the best way for these folks to be setting up their accounts with you guys?
Yeah, I think obviously going through the website. So I know some people have had issues getting registered through the website. Top right hand corner, start investing now is the button to click. You can start off by registering an individual account. If you have an LLC or trust, we can worry about that after your personal account's registered. So no need to try and apply more than once. We've got your application the first time in a lot of cases. From there, though, please understand we are receiving about 300 to 400 applications a day. So we do mention that if you want to get through quick, I have said to people that are in the Telegram that it makes sense to be able to email support at Caleb and Brown, or email myself, Jeff, at Caleb and Brown, just to make sure you can really get that expedited KYC verification. And once I put you through and I say, hey, I'm going to expedite this, I literally drag your name and I put it in front of the 3,000 people waiting for an account. That's what I do, and I ping accounts and say, hey, please get this person done ASAP. Then it's usually a 1 to 2 day lead time to get that part done, and then you'll usually assign a broker after that. So we do have a couple of brokers here besides myself and Jake. We have Nils and Bisher as well, both really good brokers, super friendly and super excited to work with any one of you. Just keep in mind, though, that they will be emailing you. So they will email you the buy order process saying, hey, your account's verified. Here's the information you need to get started. So it's really important that you're able to look in your inbox from any emails from @calebandbrown.com and any of our verification staff that are requesting more information from you. So this can sometimes go into your spam folder, which can be a bit hard because I know a lot of people receive a lot of spam emails, but just being on top of it because we'll always contact you. So it's really important to make sure that you've received that, just so we can make sure that you can get into the market, you can get what you want, and we can help you as quickly as possible. So that's pretty much what's required for that. You do need to provide some basic information, things like, passport, photo. If you don't have one of those, it'll need to be like a social security number. It doesn't need to be the card, like a proof of current address, and also a selfie image just to prevent fraud. So we don't do anything with this information, just so you know. We only use it for verification purposes, just to make sure we are dealing with the person who we're intended to be dealing with. Your identity hasn't been stolen and people are trying to funnel your money through cryptocurrency. Nothing bad's happening. And we obviously don't use any of that information for any third parties. And as mentioned, we can actually register as individuals, trusts, foundations, companies, whatever it is. And we can sort of help you out with those different vehicles there. So that's kind of how the registration process works, and what's the easiest way to get through to us. And obviously, once you're actually through and you've spoken or you've emailed back and forth with your broker, communication is so easy from there. So I know it's a bit hard, and I'm really sorry if some people haven't received these emails and things like that. But it's just really good just to email support at Caleb and Brown if you have any questions, or if you need to be like, hey, I haven't been contacted yet, please help me, and we'll do the best we can for you. Okay. That's from me.
Fantastic. And then maybe Jake, you can take this one. So there's a lot of people here, maybe give them the guidelines of, this is the minimum requirement we need to make a trade. For example, people know they can go to Coinbase and buy $200 worth of whatever, but they're not going to be doing that at Caleb and Brown. So maybe give them that. And then let them know what happens from there. I know you guys will hold their crypto, but they can also request it to hold it themselves in their own wallet. So maybe give them an idea about how
Absolutely.
your system works, especially when people are, if they buy some coins through you, Jake, and then they say, hey, I want to actually dispatch my coins to my wallet. Maybe give them the process, because I know you guys have a fairly new AI that works fantastic, by the way. I love it. So maybe just give these guys a little rundown.
Absolutely. So first and foremost, once clients create their accounts with us, there's an order process. We're able to buy, sell, and swap in and amongst over 1,000 different cryptocurrencies. So clients are able to wire US dollars, Canadian dollars, British pounds. They're also able to send us Reef token and say, I want 50% of it traded into Polkadot, 20% into XRP, 30% into Litecoin. That would just be one single transaction, one single trade. The minimum is $2,000 and there's no maximum. So we have a minimum involved, but that's pretty much the only string that's attached. From that point forward, we do require clear communication from clients. If we don't understand your trade, or if there's any uncertainty, your broker's probably just going to give you a phone call. We'd rather put in that extra amount of time than have a situation where we're selling the wrong coin or buying the wrong asset. It's very important to work with clients directly, because we understand how complicated this space can be at times. Now, outside of that, that is ultimately our order process there. How it works on our end is we do use tons of automation. We depend on technology enormously, but we still believe that you want to have human oversight at all times. So with that being said, we have a fleet of traders in our business, operational staff, custody teams, and what they do is they make sure that every single trade is best executed, which means if there is more liquidity using one service or one platform, OTC, desk, or client pool, then we will always do exactly that. Now, for coins like Bitcoin or Litecoin, it may be a little bit easier. It may not be as troublesome. But if we're starting to get down the list of these illiquid altcoins, the more speculative ones that move 10, 50% every other day, especially if it's a large dollar amount, our traders might be acquiring that using several different liquidity providers all around the world. And that in turn allows clients to avoid pushing up the market. The last thing we're going to do is buy $10,000 worth of Populus and give a client a price that's 15% above what they were expecting. I mean, that's just a horrible outcome for everyone. And we want to strive to use better resources to get better outcomes. So that's exactly what we do in terms of the trade side. Once the trade is executed, you receive an invoice, so you know exactly to the nearest decimal place what has transpired and what was involved. From that point forward, those coins are in our custody. We use offline vault facilities, much like what a bank would traditionally use to store precious assets. We adopt the same method. We're just applying a really unique asset class to it. And we're very fortunate to have very talented people in our team who have been able to decipher the best and safest way to store these cryptocurrencies. From that point forward, we can then send holdings reports, account summaries to clients. That's just at broker request. So if a client emails me saying, Jake, please give me a summary of my account, I can send that across right away, and that will be detailed meticulously. If the client then says, Jake, I've got my wallet address for my Ethereum tokens or for Polkadot or Theta token, whatever the case may be, we just have a process of testing and thoroughly verifying the address before we go sending out a larger sum across. So if that process is ever delayed, rest assured that it's for security related reasons. We're not going to be rushing the process, because that could mean an increased likelihood of error, which we certainly don't want. So that in a nutshell is the order process and how we work with clients.
Man, that's fantastic. That was a great synopsis too. Let me say this for all you guys listening. I have made hundreds, I would say it's hundreds of transactions. Wouldn't you say that, Jeff? I've made hundreds. I mean, you've handled them all. Would you say I'm fairly accurate when I say hundreds of transactions over the
Yeah,
last
I
3 years?
think it's fair to say that you're a very frequent trader.
So I've made hundreds of transactions, unequivocally almost always with Jeff, unless he just maybe wasn't around to do that. I have asked him repeatedly, and I encourage you guys to do the same. Jeff, what is the best policy for me to execute a trade? And what I've found is that for me and Jeff, if I send Jeff an email, I want to put all the pertinent information in there. Okay, this is a trade for XYZ entity. Because if you have 2 or 3 entities, guys, you want to designate in your email. This eliminates a bunch of back and forth email. This is for XYZ entity. It's a market order because Jeff might be sitting at a table in a meeting, or he might be at lunch and he gets an order and it says market order. Well, he might take a moment of his time to forward that over to somebody on his team to make sure that happens right then. But if I put in the subject line that it's a limit order for Bitcoin at 65,000, in the subject line, he knows he can kind of keep doing his next 10 or 15 minutes worth of routine because that's not important right this minute. And so kind of find out from your broker the best way to communicate with them where you can put all this information in one email. And that way you don't have every email doesn't end up having 7 emails. And so I'm just encouraging you guys to do that. It works very, very well. And if for some reason I don't hear from Jeff on something that's important, I will then start texting or calling, and so he and I have that relationship, and I encourage you guys to develop that as well. The other thing I want to bring up, Jeff, is I'd like for you to tell these guys so they really get a true understanding. I'm going to use me as an example. I'm going to talk about something I don't normally talk about, but I'll just keep it still very vague. I remember the first time I executed a multi-million-dollar trade with Caleb and Brown. And I remember the first time I tried to execute a multi-million-dollar trade with Gemini. And with Gemini, it did not go well at all. The trade did not get executed. Fortunately, my coins did not get locked. I was very happy about that. But then when I did this same thing with Jeff, I sent my coins to Jeff. I called Jeff on the phone. I said, Jeff, can you give me a live quote? And he said, yes. Here's your live quote. And I said, sell them. And he sold them. And he came back to the phone 20 seconds later and he said, easy peasy. What would you like to do now? And guys, I'm just telling you this story because I want you to understand. And I'm going to let Jeff tell you from his side of it. A lot of people get worried and go, well, is there a problem with so many people using Caleb and Brown? Jeff, tell these guys about you guys' liquidity. And I've just given my example of the first time it happened, never mind any other times. But I mean, every time that I need to do something, in fact, I called Jeff recently and said, hey, can you make an order this big? And he said, no problem, done deal, man. So tell these guys about your liquidity so they can kind of rest assured that it's going to be okay when everybody wants to sell at the same time.
Yeah, that's it. We do have vaster access to liquidity. So think of us as like a market aggregator. So we have all the corporate accounts, all the different exchanges and liquidity providers out there so that we can try and get a precision outcome. Whereas one person may market sell, it's like say Theta Fuel on an exchange, you might, if it's a huge amount, you might tank the price 8 or 9%. So that's an instant loss for that client or that individual. So at least with us, we can, offload that across multiple liquidity pools, and we can say, okay, cool, here's an indicative price of what we can sell it for. We'll obviously try and get you the best outcome as possible because that's what we do. And then obviously, when the trade's completed, you get your receipt that details your order and everything like that. So we do have multiple liquidity pools and multiple strategies that we can deploy if there's not that access to liquidity immediately. So either way, we just like Jake said earlier, we really just try and work to get the best possible outcome on every trade. The way that we see it is if you were to do this yourself, how can we get a better outcome for you? How can we get you more coins? How can we get you more dollars? And that's what we aim for every single time.
Yeah, that's fantastic. So that helps people understand. And I mean, let's use this team as an example. I think I remember you telling me it might have been Chainlink, it might have been VIDT. I can't remember, but we did an order. I placed an order. I think it was a sell order, and I
Mm,
think you told me that over the next maybe 24 hours, you guys did like 36 or 50 million dollars worth of those orders for people within the
mm.
team. And not, I mean, every single person that I heard from was just thrilled. Oh my gosh, this was so great. This was not one person was going, I tried to get this done at Caleb Brown, and I couldn't get it done. I mean, everybody was just thrilled. So, I mean,
Mm.
this is no problem, right? You guys are good to go here.
Yeah, exactly. And we tend to forget how complicated orders can be as well. For a normal person on an exchange, okay, let's say that the normal path of least resistance would be you buy at Coinbase, 4% fee off the get-go. Okay, because they charge price premiums. So they charge 3% more than the actual price of the asset, and they also charge a little fee. Okay, you withdraw that, they charge you a withdrawal fee, which we don't charge. You got to use a VPN. You got to go into a Binance account, which we've had hundreds of people get locked out of their Binance accounts, by the way, which means that your account is effectively closed until they want to give you your coins, pretty much, which makes it very hard. But back to the story, you go from Coinbase, you go to deposit your coins to Binance, which is obviously very risky, and then you do your trades. But before you even move your coins to Binance, you've already been charged the same fee we charge. And you're going to try and deploy that into 5 different coins. So, but you have to go from Bitcoin or Ethereum or into those other altcoins as well. So you're effectively sometimes doing 3 to 4 trades just to get to what you want. With us, it's one trade from one asset, so US dollars straight to that coin without even needing to jump through any of those hoops, let alone the time investment. I know a lot of people in your group are really time poor guys. They haven't got time to sit in front of screens and stress and have to wait for 300 confirmations for their coins to arrive on the other side. That's what we're here for. We're here for that seamless experience. We go from point A to point B, and that's it. It's a no-brainer. You can do it while you're at work. You can email your broker on your break. You can email your broker while you're sitting in front of the TV. So that's what we're here to do. We're here to make sure that we can provide a convenient service, make sure people can get through to their outcomes without needing to jump through all the hoops and all. Yeah, you know what I mean. Jay, you've done this hundreds of times before. You know exactly what I'm talking about.
Yeah, well, and you're hitting on something that's so important right now. I can't tell you how many people they look at even a 3.5 to a 5% fee, and they go, "Oh my God, that fee is so high." Well, first of all, the first thing is this: you are tripping over dollars to pick up dimes when you're out here trying to go use an exchange or trying to exchange it on Exodus because you think it's going to be cheaper. I just did an exchange on Exodus about 2 weeks ago. I couldn't get Jeff on the phone. I tried him first. I tried the email. He was in an important meeting. I said, I got to get this done now. The price is there now, and I did the exchange. Had I done that with Jeff, it would have been $550 for that trade. It cost me $1,500. I wasn't happy about it. Like, it's not Jeff's fault, but I wasn't happy about it. But still, I had to get it done. And within 15 minutes, when I was finally talking to Jeff on the phone, and he was apologizing profusely, which was not necessary, I looked at the price, and the price had already changed $3 on an $8 cryptocurrency. So that was a significant move down. And so I was glad I did what I did. But guys, you think that you're saving money by swapping it on Exodus? You think you're saving money because you bought it on Coinbase and they only hit you with XYZ fee? You didn't get to see the spread. You didn't get to see the slippage. You didn't get to see any of that. So you guys are sadly mistaken. And so here's what I would encourage folks here to do. And Jeff, please back me up here. Jeff and I, in the beginning, I really did no transactions with Jeff until I first called him and I said, okay, give me a quote. He gave me a quote. He would fill my order. I'd get the invoice. Everything was as it should be. Then I started with Jeff and I would say, hey, Jeff, I just sent you these coins. I can see they're in your wallet. Here's the transaction ID. Just sell them at market. I didn't ask him for a quote. And you know what? Sometimes I'd get an invoice and my invoice was a few pennies or 20 cents or whatever higher than what the market was selling at. And so it allowed he and I to build a trust, and he continuing to tell me, hey, listen, it's in our best interest to get you the best we can get you. And so, I now, for the most part, unless it's a limit order, and Jeff will tell you, I make a lot of market orders. I just say, buy it at market. I'm not fussed with it. I'm trusting Jeff to make sure he gets me. I think we just did an order the other day, and I said, just buy it at market. Just do it. I don't care if it's 2 cents, 3 cents, whatever. He's going to get me the best he can get me right then. And I'm thrilled about that. And I can do it riding down the road from my car. I don't have to be at a computer. I don't have to, none of that stuff. So just,
Mm.
if you don't mind backing me up on that, Jeff, I mean, because I think that
Yeah.
if people can build that relationship you and I have built, then you have that trust, and you're not trusting some exchange or some robotic email to give you an answer. You actually have a human live person you can talk to.
Yeah, 100% right. And whenever I do give an indicative price quote, obviously it's indicative of the market at that time. And there have been times where, the price on your invoice may have been a little bit higher than what, say, CoinMarketCap was saying. And I remember that you got home and you like look at the chart and you go, oh, actually the sell side of the order book did reflect that at that time. So it's like some of those prices can be like, the market average and things like that. Because I know a lot of people in the binge teams, they do look at CoinGecko and CoinMarketCap, and it's only an average of the price. So obviously we do our best just to try and get you the best price possible. And on the record, we don't we don't charge any price premiums. So we definitely do the best we can with the resources we have. So, but yeah, absolutely.
That's fantastic. Tell these guys too, if you don't mind, give them an idea of how, because we've been building this team for, gosh, 3 years now, and we pretty much only recommend you. You know that I have other institutional platforms myself, but
Hmm.
not everybody here has the availability of liquidity to be on those platforms. So I don't
Hmm.
really recommend any of them. And in fact, I don't even have any friends at those places. Like, I consider Jeff a friend of mine. I don't know Jake well enough to call him a friend, but I consider Jeff a friend of mine. And
Hmm.
so what I want you to just kind of share with these guys is that when it comes time for doing processing orders, going back and forth, tell these guys like what they can expect. When they get an order from you, the time limit, the time, how long it takes you guys to kind of jump on that. What are your hours? Give them the rundown of what they can expect. Because again, there's a lot of new people here today listening to this who've never placed an order with you. They maybe just got their account open, and give them an idea of what that is.
Absolutely. So our typical working hours, so we're 7 days a week. We're the only brokerage in the world that works 7 days a week, and we're available for you to place orders from 7 a.m. Melbourne time all the way until our midnight. So that is quite a large gap from where you can place orders. You're probably thinking at the moment, what if I need things outside of those hours? You do have Jay, who is a battle-hardened strategist. In a lot of cases, you won't need to place any knee-jerk reaction orders outside of those hours. But we are working very hard to make sure that we can have more hours, excuse me, of availability for you. So we are exploring time zones at the moment and opening up new offices so that we can have more uptime. So that's coming soon.
That's fantastic. Now, can I put you on the spot for a second? I want to ask you a question that might put you on the spot, and I think I know the answer to this, but this I really don't know 100% what the answer is. Tell me how Caleb and Brown views our team. I know you work with lots of teams of people. There's people like Michelle White Dove who have a whole team of people she recommends. So tell me how Caleb and Brown views the binge team.
You're going to love this. So Jay can back me up on this because I know that all the members from 17, 18, 19 that were working with crypto trade calls. I know that I have roughly about maybe 30 or 40% of the people in your group as I'm their broker, and Jake has about the same. And I'm sure Jake can back me up on this when we say that the binge team is honestly like the easiest team to work with. Like they know the process, they understand the issues that we face to try and help them as well. And everyone is just honestly a delight to work with. Everyone's super polite, super happy. And I can tell you now, whenever I see binge team order requests in my emails, I pull them out straight away. Okay, because at the end of the day, everyone's just been so like battle hardened by what the processes are. Everyone knows what it comes down to, and a lot of people we've spoken to personally. Sorry, a lot of people you were talking about, me being, friends with you. Well, we've been friends for quite a while, and I'd like to say that a lot of people in the binge team are my friends, and Jay could probably say the same. We could name multiple people that have been with us for so long. Like we know what their dog's name is, we know where they went for holiday. Geez, we even know what they had for dinner. So at the end of the day, we really pride ourselves on having such a beautiful relationship with all the people that we work with. I know that specific client, I may actually name her by her first name, Heather. She actually sent me out bottles of wine. So like that's just so well appreciated, And I can tell you now, the new brokers, whenever they see crypto trade calls or binge team in the referral code, they fight over it. They go, I want that client, because we know that they're just easy breezy, super happy, super excited. And it's honestly an absolute pleasure to work with anyone from the team.
I can add to that just by giving a direct example. So on our Friday, which would have been Thursday for most of you guys on your side of the world, on that same day, I started my day about 5:36 in the morning, so a bit earlier than what I would usually start. I had to do so because I had some calls with a client who's not a part of the binge team that's in Europe, and that's a high net worth family trust account out of Denmark. And the nature of that conversation was, as you can imagine, they want all these things done. It has to be done very fast. We got the trades executed, no problem at all. But I'd be lying if I said it wasn't like a pretty high pressure, first thing in the morning kind of experience. Great outcome for everyone, but geez, like I enjoyed getting a coffee afterwards. For the rest of the day, at 9 o'clock in the morning, I got a bunch of cupcakes delivered from Dick, who I will mention the first name, on your side of the world. And I'm thinking, oh my God, it's just the disparity between the average cryptocurrency investor and trader versus the guys in your group is so crazy, because that same morning that I had all these high pressure, very demanding kind of calls and emails from around the world, which I don't want to complain about because they're also fantastic clients. But what I will say is the rapport and the relationship we've built with people in your group is unparalleled. And getting emails from people saying, their portfolio has just hit like the desired number, or that extra zero that they were always looking for, and also having cupcakes delivered to the office. I mean, we are working crazy hours, so from a health perspective, maybe the cupcakes weren't maybe some fruit would have been a better option perhaps, but it was so appreciated by the team, and it's just no one else does that. Like in international business, you don't get that kind of relationship with clients, so we really, especially when the markets are stressful and busy, it's such a privilege to be working with like real people who actually care for us and we care for them. So yeah, I definitely agree with everything that you guys have just said there.
And you guys, just for both of you, Jake and Jeff, you guys have watched people come on board with Caleb and Brown, open an account, buy a lot of coins in the bear market, add to their stack. And I mean, I don't think that we're disclosing too much information about people, but I happen to know personally from my interaction with them, and I'm sure you guys do too from looking at their portfolios. We got a lot of seven-figure clients right now. I mean, the folks that I'm working with as students, I can't tell you how many of them are sending me emails right now going, I just reached seven figures, or I just reached multiple seven figures. And this is exactly what I've been working for 3.5 years, is to get that kind of success. Can you guys verify what I'm telling you is correct from your side without,
It's unbelievable. Even people that I didn't think had that big portfolios, but they've been dollar cost averaging all through the bear market. I'm talking like 2K, 5K a week or a month, just buying the right coins. And like, look, Cardano, what people were buying Cardano at less than 2 cents. There
Yeah.
people were buying Litecoin at $30. Like it's insane, like the returns people have had because they just stuck through. And it's a testament to you, Jay, okay, and all the people working in your team, because think of it this way. it's like if those people were alone, would you have stuck through it? Would you have actually stuck through and held through, or would you have capitulated? So I think that there's a lot of thanks to be had to you, Jay, for making sure that you're holding the bar, because the whole way of your group, you know what I mean? Obviously, you have supporters, and obviously, like, it can be easy sometimes to criticize, especially in a bear market. It can be tough. It can be tough for everyone mentally, emotionally. But we're here now, and it's a testament to the entire team. It's just honestly, like, I'm getting goosebumps while I'm saying this, because so many people have just done so well. And it doesn't matter whether it's like, like 50% or you've doubled your portfolio, whether you've 10x your portfolio. It's a situation where if you invested that in traditional finance, what kind of return were you actually looking at? So it's in contrast, I guess, at the end of the day as well to the normal markets and how bad they actually are, inefficient they actually are. So yeah, it's very exciting, and we honestly aligned with you in the fact that we think that this year is going to be phenomenal for cryptocurrency. And look, retail's only just getting on board. People starting to message me on Facebook and message me on these different places that I haven't spoken to in 5 years, and I'm sure that you're all getting the same thing. So we're starting to warm up here, and it's good to know that we've been in the race for a while.
Absolutely. And while we're sitting here talking about all these great things, I like to keep things on a very even kill. And so this is not rehearsed. Jeff has no idea what I'm about to talk about, but I think he'll jump on board with me here. Jeff and I have had probably in 2.5, 3 years, we've probably have 5, maybe 6 times that he and I both had an opportunity where we could grow in our relationship, meaning that I might have been looking at an invoice and going, hey man, I'm a little lost here. I don't understand this, right? Can I just tell you guys something? Every single time, let me tell you what Jeff has led with. He's led with, hey Jay, give me a minute to look at this. Let me go find out what's going on, but let me assure you right now before I go that if we've made a mistake, we will absolutely make it right. And so I think that to give people a fair balance, look, anytime that there's human beings involved, technology involved, there's always an opportunity for there to be a mistake. There's an opportunity for something to maybe not go the way you wanted it to go. What I would tell you is that I've learned a lot through that with Jeff. And one of the things I've learned is to maybe keep my cool a little bit better when I talk to Jeff, when I'm all upset about some 6-figure trade that didn't go my way, right? And then I find out, oh, there was a lot more variables involved than even I thought, right? So I'm just telling you guys that there is two sides of this. There's all this great, wonderful things we're talking about. And then there's the side of it where there might be a time here and there where it doesn't go perfect your way, but be willing to own at least half of the growth process. I've always been willing to own half of the growth process. And at the end of the day, Jeff and I are like hugging and kissing over the phone. You're my buddy, you're my brother from another mother, blah, 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 right? And so I think that that's an important part of this is to measure people's expectations. And so the expectation I want you to have coming off this call today is that yes, these guys are amazing. Like I can't do what I do without them, period, end of story. And that's why I want them to know when I send them an email, it says CMB rocks at the bottom of it, because I want to build that in their head that I believe they rock. No matter if we have a mistake, no matter if something doesn't go our way, it doesn't matter. At the end of the day, when you add it all up, you've got near perfection. And I don't get that anywhere else. And so, I mean, it's kind of at the end of my statement here, I would just say, thank you, Jeff, and thank you, Jake, big time. And I would love for George to say a word if he's still here with us. George, are you here with us? George is my
I
partner.
am. Yeah.
Hey,
No,
George, how you doing?
Maybe we'll
hey,
just take a
good
couple
to talk to
questions
you.
after that. Just a couple questions
Yeah,
after that, and then we'll let these guys get to work.
and I've said this before in a couple live streams, and I'm going to say it again. Um, Jeff, you did a trade for me. You traded some coins into T Fuel, and I kind of wanted to prove to myself, and I wanted to prove to the group. I did a majority of it with you, and I did a little bit of Binance, and I did some on Simple Swap, and came to turn out yours was the easiest because I just said, here, take this and turn it into this. And when I did the calculation and looked at it, you got me a better price And so whatever fees that you had added on, it came out the same virtually across the board. And just for myself, I proved that it was much easier going directly with you guys and having it taken care of than having to go to Simple Swap and having to look at that. It was a time saver, and it just proved to myself. And that's what I wanted to do. I wanted to prove to myself. And so that's why I'm sharing it with everybody. And so I really have to thank you guys down there, because you're making my life much easier, because there's not enough time in the day, as we all are kind of experiencing right now. And I just want to say thank you very much.
Thanks, George. Do appreciate that. And look, there are some situations where we can get a better outcome. And obviously, the situation that Jay had spoken about earlier, where he just had to get out at that moment. Yeah, there are moments where there's many tools as you can have for your arsenal. That's the way you go. And if we can be a part of that arsenal, we're grateful either way. And as Jay mentioned earlier about the accountability, it's really important. I can tell you now that there have been trade errors, and I'm sure that there have been a few people listening right now nodding their heads and go, yeah, there has been a mistake on my trade before, but it was fixed. And it's a situation where, please know that we may have lost $3, $4, $5, even $10,000 on that trade, but we just make sure, because we want to do what's right. We want to make sure that if we make a mistake, that we fix it, we're accountable, and we wear that. And obviously, if there's a miscommunication along the way, it makes sense that there's accountability on both sides that most people understand, and people just people are always really patient and are like, yeah, cool, and we always want the opportunity to fix it and also to move from it and grow as well. And it's not just my relationship with Jay, it's Jake's relationships with all his clients as well, and my relationship with the wider community between you guys also. So it's really good that we do get the opportunity to fix things when we're wrong, and we'll always admit if there's a situation where because we're long term, we want to see this thing through. We want to be with you guys for years. We don't want to just be your broker for the bull market and that's it. We want to be around with you guys for quite a while, and we have been for a lot of you. So thank you once again.
I think I can probably add an example to that. So to put some direct coins that a lot of you would be familiar with. So you mentioned VIDT a moment ago, and I remember it was some months ago now. The coin was actually hitting highs at the time, and we were selling tons of it. Like, so many people in your group were wanting to offload the profits they'd made on that coin. And to give some further insight into these altcoins, at that period of time, as we know, KuCoin, a major exchange in Southeast Asia, ended up getting hacked, and one of the coins that was compromised was VIDT. And there have been numerous exchanges where some of these altcoins, they can be compromised. They can have withdrawal issues. There are so many problems involved. So what's important for us is clear communication. If I'm helping clients exit their position in these tokens, and the client's thinking, oh, Jake, it's taking a while, what's going on? I'm more than happy to detail exactly what is going on. So always feel welcome to reach out to us if you do have any uncertainty, because in those scenarios, I was explaining to clients, so much of the liquidity had moved in the market because of these major exchange issues. But for us, if we put in 1 hour into that trade, and that's the difference between dumping the price or not to help exit you safely out of that token and get you Litecoin or Ethereum or whatever it is you're looking for, we would rather put those extra human resources into that, if that means getting you a price, as opposed to just seeing it as a transaction with nothing more else, and then simply just offloading the coins and getting a horrible price and too bad, best luck next time. We don't want to establish that kind of relationship. We do handle client funds as if they are our personal funds. Like Jeff puts through trades as if it's his mum doing the transaction herself. So always rest assured that you're going to get that preferential treatment, because our business only succeeds if the trades that we get clients are successful. If we butcher a trade and we don't take any accountability for it, or we don't work to amend the situation, well, that's the end of our business. We don't spend money on advertising, so we can't afford to be making those errors or treating trades like they're not our own.
Oh, absolutely. Such great points, man. Such great points. And I want to encourage the folks listening here, no matter how big, I know there's some people here right now listening that have $20 million in their wallet right now. I know that because I see your name on the list and I know it's in your portfolio. And I want to encourage you people, and I'm going to get Jeff to back me up on this. I want to encourage you to always take the stance with Caleb or Brown or whoever it is you're doing business with, don't ever act like a big shot. Like Jeff will tell you, I'm not a big shot. I know how much crypto I have. I know how good this is for me. I know where I'm headed. But when I talk to Jeff on the phone, I say, Jeff, please don't give me any preferential treatment because of how much crypto I have. I just want the same good treatment everybody else gets. And I'm encouraging everybody to do the same as your portfolios grow. Don't treat these guys like you're a big shot. Just keep treating them. In other words, be the winner that's humble. Be the winner that's humble and remember where you friggin' came from. And Jeff, tell these guys, I mean, this is something I talk to you about all the time.
Yeah, 100% correct. You're always really humble with your dealings and always really like you're always putting other people first. You're like, oh, it's okay, you're busy, you got nothing on. I got this trade, and it just happens to be the biggest one we've had that week. So it's yeah, it's certainly good, and I really do feel that that really does emulate throughout the group. Some of the highest value people in the group, like by dollar amount, they're just like normal people. They're just like the normal guys who are putting in the same 2K trades, and we don't treat them any different. And we do it by chronological order, so best in, best served. So no, it's certainly really nice that we have that, because we do have a lot of people that come up to us, email support at Caleb and Brown. Hey, I just signed up. I want to put 100K into the market. Contact me immediately. Like we get dozens of those a day, and it's just so nice that we have a relationship with people where people are just like they're just our friends. Honestly, like I couldn't put it any other way. We have like a really good working relationship. We found a good middle ground of communication and how we can work in with each other, and we just go with that every time.
Yeah, fantastic. So last question, and then we'll just take a couple of these that people have wrote in here. We're not going to take a lot of time, guys, because Jeff and Jake got to get back to work over there. And I just appreciate you guys doing this, especially since we had so many new people going, how do we do this? How do we do this? And so, Caleb and Brown will walk you through the process. Your personal broker will walk you through what you need to do. But here's the thing I think that's one of the most important things. Everybody's always asking me for tax advice, and I'm not a tax guy. Caleb and Brown is not your tax advisor, but here's what I do want you to know. Jeff, tell these people, you guys have a lot of clients in the United States. I've been doing business with you myself for close to 3 years. I've never received anything from you ever except an invoice. Tell these guys what fiduciary responsibility you have. Are you guys responsible for sending stuff to the IRS, sending stuff to the FBI, sending stuff to the SEC? Are you responsible for doing any of that with clients you
So
have in the United States?
we do want to keep in mind that we are in a different jurisdiction. So we are out here in Melbourne, Australia, and we are not responsible for your tax dealings or anything to do with that. You receive a receipt, and that is your receipt. And obviously, at the end of the tax year, if you want a summary of your dealings with us, deposits and such, and trades, we can certainly put that together for you. But that is for your eyes only. Okay.
That's beautifully put. Beautifully put. All right, let's go to just a couple questions here, and we're going to get you guys back to work. I don't want to read any silly ones here, so let me just get through a couple of these here. A lot of people are asking about LLCs, trusts. I think Jake and Jeff both will say to you, it doesn't matter if you have a private foundation, if you have a trust, any kind of trust, if you have an LLC, if you have an S corp, they can basically work with whatever your structure is. Is that about right, Jeff?
Yeah, that's correct. So obviously, if you want to trade through a trust, it makes sense that you trade from the trust from the get-go. So you have a trust bank account, you've set up a trust with us. It's really easy to set up a trust. All you need to do is get the members page notarized that shows the members of your trust at your local notary. Take a photo of that, take a photo of the front page, email that across to your broker. That's all it is. When it comes to trading through a trust in the future, you may have a personal account. You can certainly deposit coins to your trust after it's been verified. That's not an issue. So that's pretty much how that works.
And these guys can have as many structures set up with you as they want. I know that I personally have a whole big, huge 2 handfuls probably. So you guys don't feel like you just can have one thing there. Do what your need is, and your broker will assist you. I mean, Jeff has never said to me, "Well, Jay, we're doing a little too much paperwork over here for you." No, it's not like that. They do what your request is, and they're there to help you. And I mean, that's all I've ever gotten from Jeff is just help, help, and more help. So thank you
Yeah,
for that,
it's
Jeff.
certainly no. You're absolutely welcome. I must admit though, it does make sense to obviously sit down with your tax attorney or sit down with a professional, maybe John Jay, and kind of work out, what is the intent here? What am I trying to achieve? Because obviously, you can open up as many trusts as you like, which is fine, but there has to be obviously a strategy behind that as well. So opening trusts, have a good think about it, figure out what you want, save the money if it doesn't make sense for you to do it, obviously, but we're happy to still do it. But obviously want to make sure that, we're looking out for you as well. I would hate for you to go and register 10 trusts and you're like, oh, now what do I do with them, Jeff? And we're like, well, that's not a question for me, unfortunately. So, but yeah, we can
Yeah.
certainly help with any entity, any structure that you require, because we understand a lot of people do register entities for tax purposes and tax minimization strategies, which is completely fine, completely legal, so yeah, definitely, get in contact if you ever want to register an account. But keep in mind, you do need to have corresponding accounts. So let's say you have a trust with us, you want to sell, your millions, you want to put your millions into your bank account, which is fine. It has to go to you have to have a bank account for that's in the name of the trust. So it's got to make sense on both ends.
Yeah, because you guys have an AML policy you have to live with as well. So, and we've tried to keep people, in the know of how to do that from our side. But anyway, this is a great question here, and I actually would kind of like to know the answer to this too. Somebody put this in here. They're wondering, does Caleb and Brown see there to be a problem if all of a sudden there's 500 people, 200 people that are saying to Caleb and Brown, hey, we just sold our Bitcoin, wire us 1.5 million, wire us 600,000. Do you guys see a problem in that? Not necessarily from Caleb and Brown's perspective. There's a lot of folks that think that there's problems if there's one entity like, say, a Caleb and Brown who's now sending out wire transfers 10 a day, 20 a day, 100 a day, whatever it is, and next thing you know, across the wire transfer from one company, there's $100 million sent out in a week. Do you guys see a problem in that? And have you done that with other groups in the past and it's just absolutely no problem?
I'll answer this one if you don't mind, Jeff.
Love it.
Short answer is there's no problem there at all. So for context, we do transact in hundreds of millions of dollars every single week, and particularly of recent times, a lot of our big institutional accounts have been on the buy side and the sell side of predominantly Bitcoin and Ethereum. I'm talking big companies and not crypto enthusiasts. They just got too much cash in their reserve and they're looking to get some assets with a bit of scarcity. So Bitcoin makes a lot of sense. They see other companies doing it and they say, sweet, I want to get some Bitcoin too. They build a relationship with us, and that means big money in, big money out. We haven't had any issues whatsoever on the liquidity front. And I'm very glad that you asked that, because as much as we don't have any issues with it, and we have our standard 1 to 3 business days for international wires, whether it's $2,000 we're sending you, whether it's $15 million we're sending you, exact same process, exact same security. However, it is a problem that the cryptocurrency space has collectively, which is why I'm very glad you raised it. There's this whole proof of coins day, proof of keys day that happens every year, because so many exchanges, there's all these rumors about, does the exchange actually have this much cryptocurrency, or are they just moving numbers on a screen and there's nothing substantiated behind that? And if you do some research into MT Gox back from, I think, 2014, and other exchanges like Quadriga out in Canada, or there's another one in New Zealand, Cryptopia, you'll soon find that there has been issues with what happens if you say to your exchange, hey, can I get $10 million of Ethereum sent to my wallet? And there's no one you can speak to, there's no customer support, and days go by, no Ethereum's come across, or USD, well, that becomes a pressing issue. So it's very important we make it clear that that is not an issue with us. And if there are delays with banking or delays with dispatching coins, it's always going to be for a good reason, such as maybe our bank needs your SWIFT code because there might have been a typo, or maybe it's such a large withdrawal, we want to call you first to verify that cryptocurrency withdrawal. But obviously, like we've said, you can communicate that with us and we'll take care of it. But the short answer is there's no issues whatsoever with larger dollar values.
That's wonderful. You guys haven't been contacted by any agencies going, hey, you're sending an awful lot of money to the United States. I mean, that's never happened, right?
What we find is banks are very happy to receive money. They're not so happy to send
Not
it.
so happy to
So
send it out. Yeah.
exactly. The issues that you guys would have had is, and I know some of you guys back in 2018, you'd send a wire transfer. You'd say, "Hey Jake, I've just sent this wire," or "Hey Jeff, I've just sent say $10,000." You'd buy a series of coins, and then a day later, your bank's calling you up saying, "What are you sending? This isn't crypto related, is it?" Because back then, the odds are all against us. The world doesn't really want to support the cryptocurrency ecosystem, and that was a bit of a problem for a period of time. Obviously, the space has legitimized itself a lot recently, and major banks like Wells and Chase aren't so problematic to deal with. However, what I can assure you is, if your bank sees that a few $1 million is being sent across as an international wire, oh my God, the issue is not receiving the money. The issue is them trying to upsell you on what kind of product they're going to offer, so that money stays in your account with them.
George, were you going to say something there?
Yeah, I had a question because I had one person ask me this, and I was like, "Oh, you're going to have to ask Caleb and Brown." But they said, they got a message, I think, from Jeff saying they needed to KYC again, and they were a little bit concerned, and they were like, "Why are they asking me this again?" And there was no issue, but they were feeling a little bit uncertain of why Caleb and Brown might have to KYC every couple or every 2-3 years. And if you could just cover that so you can make people feel more comfortable, that'd be great.
Sure. Maybe Jeff, I'll grab this one as well, because I had a similar conversation with a client just before this call. So the reason that we may need to re-verify accounts is just if 2 years or 3 years has gone by and we haven't really communicated on such matters, our compliance team is very vigilant. The reason they're vigilant is for no reason other than consumer protection. So sometimes the compliance team will say, "Hey Jake, let's just make sure everything's in order with this client." And it's an opportunity for us to do a sanity check on your email, a sanity check on your phone number. Maybe you've moved house, maybe you've moved countries. It's an opportunity just to make sure everything's in order. The reason we do these things is not because we're selling your data. It's not because we're giving your information to regulators. Absolutely not. It's because we want to do what's right to clients in terms of consumer protection. And we want to make sure that email address from 2 years ago that you set up with us, we want to make sure that's still in order. We want to make sure you're still a real person and no one has jumped on board your Hotmail address and is going to take your passport, pretend to be you. And often some of these things, as much as they can be a bit of a pain in the butt, to put it simply, it is often the difference between being able to catch any risk of scam or hacks or anything like that. So our compliance team's looking out for your best interest. It's just sometimes it's a bit frustrating, but always happy to explain why we have these processes.
Great.
Yeah.
Great.
Let's
Thank
do
you.
one more question and then we'll let you guys go. And there's a bunch of questions here. George and I will stay and try to see what we can do to answer some of these questions for folks for just a few minutes. I've already had 1 3-hour live stream today, so my voice is a little tender. But on this last question, there's quite a few folks asking here, like, what can we buy at Caleb and Brown? And so tell these guys, I think it's probably easier to tell them the things that they can't buy than it is to tell them what they can, because you guys have very seldom ever said to me, "Jay, I can't get that." I mean, it does happen, but it's seldom.
Sure. Yep. So I think it's just, I just don't want to speak over Jeff. He's in another room, so we're trying to figure out who's answering which one. Look, that's probably the best way to go about it. What can we not acquire versus what we can? We trade over 1,000 coins, and there is 3 categories of coins that we cannot trade in. First and foremost, anything synonymous with a scam. If there is a coin that is just clearly untoward, it's not in your best interest, it's got major security issues and things like that. For example, BitConnect back in 2017, we had clients wanting to get that, and we were saying to them, "Look, this is an outright scam. You got to avoid this thing like a plague." Now, so that's one category of coins, which is quite rare that we ever have to deal with. The second, if there's no market for the coin, if there's no liquidity whatsoever, like, no one can get it. Now, some of these coins on paper or on CoinGecko, it might look like they're going up 50 or 100%, but they're like coin number 7,500 that has $150 trade volume per day. So if you're investing $2 or $3 into the coin, you might not have any problems. But if a client calls us up and says, "Hey Jake, I want $50,000 of this coin," you're not just investing in the coin, you're pretty much buying the entire project, and you're going to obliterate the entire order book. We've got no capacity to do anything better. We can't save the situation for you. So we're going to be completely honest. We would rather refuse the transaction than have a horrible transaction that we incur a fee on. So that's probably like the illiquidity of the market. That would be the biggest answer for that one there. And then the third one is privacy coins. We can't trade in your Monero, Zcash, unfortunately Komodo and Verge. That's probably the bulk of them. The reason for that is the way that privacy coins work is that it makes it extraordinarily difficult for any accounting or operating systems to integrate with that technology. You know, if I send you Bitcoin, for example, we've got a public Bitcoin blockchain. If I send you Bitcoin, I know it's in your wallet. We can double check and verify everything. With privacy coins, it's an entirely different ballgame, and we lose out on all of that capacity to have oversight and quality assurance. In addition to that, having international banking relationships and so forth, the banks feel the same way. If there's dispute resolution surrounding a privacy coin, no one has any capacity for oversight. So unfortunately, in the last few years, I've had to avoid privacy coins as well, which is unfortunate because obviously coins like Monero have a really interesting use case, and it's I don't like refusing coins just as much as anyone else in the team does. But that's the three categories of coins we cannot trade in. And if you ever have any questions, just send an email with a list of coins and I'll go through it, or Jeff will go through it. We'll say yes, yes, no, no, yes, just like that.
And let's do one more directional kind of comments from you guys, and then we'll put you back to work. Tell these guys what you guys have the ability to do from the perspective of, you guys know that I'm not a big advocate of letting anybody else hold my coins. So if I'm buying something, most of the time within a day or a week or so, I'm getting that coin back from you. But at the same time, I've built up a trust with Jeff that if I sell, you know, let's just say I sell $3 million, $2. I actually remember, and you guys can then take it away from here, but I remember I made a big multi-million-dollar trade where I sold to dollars back in 2019. And I didn't want to bring that money here. And at the time, you guys didn't really have a way for me to leave it with you. And so Jeff worked it out and came back to me and he said, look, we've got a holding company that we've now put in place, and we'll hold the dollars for you. Well, as uneasy as I felt about it, I didn't feel if I was thinking about having to bring it back here and then send it back again, as hard as that is with banks, I said, you know what, as uneasy as I feel worse about having to bring it back and send it back over. So I left it with you guys, and it was a big trust deal. And actually I think you guys held it for me for maybe 60 or 70 days, and it was quite a large sum of money. And I actually, like halfway through that time, I kind of popped a surprise visit on Jeff. I called him up one day and I said, hey Jeff, can I see my money in the account? I'd like to see my money in the account. And he said, no problem. Let me get with our security specialist and we're going to have you download this app, and you can download it to your computer, to your phone. And once you do, we'll send you over a disappearing message that'll last for 5 or 10 minutes. And it'll show your money in the bank account with your name actually on it. And I was like overjoyed, right? Because obviously I'm popping this on Jeff. I'd never done this before, but Jeff and I are building trust. Caleb and Brown and I are building trust, and that trust has gone pretty big today. And so tell these guys, like, they can leave their coins with you. Obviously, you've already said you guys use, you know, the storage, the cold storage and that kind of thing. They can or can't leave their money with you if they want to put it back into, you know, into coins 6 months from now. So tell them what they can and can't do there, and then we'll put you guys back to work and we're going to answer some more questions, okay? Jeff, Jake, you still with us? Did we lose him?
No, I'm still here. I think Jeff might be having issues with his microphone or mute perhaps.
Yeah, no worries.
Ken
Did you hear my
holds.
question?
Yeah, no, absolutely. I was just muted myself to avoid any background noise. Look, so we can hold fiat currencies, we can hold cryptocurrencies. Now, if we're holding funds in our bank accounts, it is a very black and white, very straightforward arrangement. We have the most basic security orientated bank accounts we can use. There's no bells and whistles. It is just security 101, safe funds sitting in our bank account. Likewise for cryptocurrency. If we're using cold storage solutions, none of this staking, lending, none of that whatsoever. It's just coins offline. Now, what we can do is we can send clients summaries of their holdings, which will detail US dollars, Canadian dollars, British pounds, just like it will also detail Bitcoin, Theta, Litecoin, Chainlink, whatever it may be. It's all about clear communication. So we can give you that confidence by giving you that information at your request. The big thing for us is we want to work within your best interest, which means if you need to leave funds with us or leave coins with us, that is an opportunity. There is zero cost involved in that process whatsoever. If you turn around and say, Jake, I want half my Bitcoin and $20,000 sent across, all we simply need is your banking information. That's really all there is to it. Everything links up with our accounting systems and our reporting systems. So you're going to be receiving the same account summaries as what your broker is seeing on their end.
That's fantastic. Well, listen, we're not going to keep you guys. I'm going to try to answer a few of these questions that are here. Some of them I probably won't be able to. We're just so appreciative you guys are willing to take some time right here during the bull market when everybody's busiest and come talk to all the new folks. So thank you for doing that. And thank you for continuing to serve me. Thank you for continuing to serve the entire team. You guys are the best. There is nobody in my book better than Caleb and Brown.
Thanks, guys.
I appreciate that.
I agree. Thanks, guys.
Have a good
Thank
one.
you so
Bye.
much.
All right, so
enjoy your Sunday,
Jeff,
and we'll be in touch soon.
Absolutely. Thank you. You guys can sign off when you want to. Jeff, thank you again, buddy.
Cheers. Cheers.
Awesome.
Love you all. Take care.
See you
Let the
guys.
Bulls run.
Bye.
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 All right, guys. Listen, I'm going to take 12 minutes and just try to blitz through some of these questions. So you guys are a little long-winded sometimes when you ask a question. It's like 5 sentences to get to the question at the end. Let me see here. We already did that one. Let's see. By the way, did you guys enjoy that? I hope you did. I hope you did.
I did.
I did my KYC. Sometimes you guys aren't even asking questions. You're actually just making comments. I'm so excited. And I get it. I'm excited too. When I do as many live streams and phone calls as I did this week, and my wife nurses me back to health and keeps my voice going for 14 days straight, like I've gone the last 14 days. I mean, George, how many? You can see my go-to webinar. How many live streams did I do this week? It was out of
Oh
this
my
world.
gosh. I know. I looked, I'm like, oh, you got another one. Oh, you got another one. And I forgot you had one this morning. I was like, I guess that's why we didn't talk this morning.
Yeah. So a couple people had asked about Caleb and Brown's upcoming features. They are not at liberty to talk about that right now. That's why I didn't ask that question. I can tell you they've shared a little bit of it with me, and it is very exciting. It is very exciting. That's the most I can say. As a current account holder, we are able to add another entity. Yes, you can add another entity. All you do is just literally, when I recently added about 4 entities to my account with Jeff, and all I did was put those together, got all my documentation together, and I sent an email for each individual entity. And I had the name of the entity in the subject line. And I said, Jeff, please add these to my account. He said, he got back with me on each email and said, this is in processing. 4 or 5 days later, he comes back to me. He says, these entities are all set up. And now when I ask him, hey, Jeff, give me an accounting of everything you're holding for me, he just automatically does it for every entity. I'll get like 8 emails, boom, 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 one for each entity. So you can add those anytime, guys.
Yeah,
Let's
and
see
one
here.
thing to add to that is when you are sending coins or funds or whatever, you just need to let them know which entity you're using. Because I know, I have 2 over there, and I just have to let them know which one it goes under.
So a lot of people are asking, or not a lot of people, but a couple of people asked the same question: is our KYC information completely private? Caleb and Brown has talked about this on previous live streams with us. They do keep all of your information completely private. I mean, they do have a governing body in their country that says to them, hey, you got to do it this way. Like, this is how you have to do it. And people's information has to be private. So they're not selling that information. It's completely private. I have 4 accounts with Caleb Brown myself and family members. I manage 4 accounts. How straightforward is it to change the email address for those accounts? It's pretty straightforward. They have a process where it's kind of just like your KYC. You wouldn't ever want somebody communicating with your broker and going, hey, I've changed my email address. Here's my new address. And they just go, oh, okay. So, even as close as Jeff and I are, and I can say to him, hey, Jeff, I need you to change my email address. Jeff will say to me, well, Jay, I need you to follow the rules. You need to take out a piece of paper and write down your old email address on it and say, I want to change my email address to this address, and take a picture with that in your hand. And I like that. I personally like that. It's pretty straightforward, but it makes sure that nobody else can change my email address. Do I have to go through formal KYC again? No, not formal KYC. You've just got to, again, get with your broker. They'll tell you how to do it. It's pretty straightforward and easy. I did mine this past year and got rid of all old email addresses. And now here's the thing. I heard about one of our Patreons who their phone got hacked, their email got hacked. The person got the email, sent an email to the broker at Caleb and Brown and said, hey, listen, if you don't mind, sell these few coins I have here. Because what they were doing is reading their emails. They were reading their old emails, and they saw where that month they had bought XYZ coins. So they sent an email and said, hey, I bought these coins on the 1st. If you don't mind, sell them to Bitcoin for me and send them to this wallet address. So the broker just did what they asked him to do. And then what happened next was they said, hey, while you're at it, send me all the Bitcoin you have of mine. And that's when Caleb Brown went, wait a minute, and they called him, and the gentleman said to him, I didn't send you any emails. What are you talking about? So once again, I will reiterate to this group, just like I did to a group this morning, get off of all these bogus hackable emails and get to an email like, for example, Proton Mail. It's just an example of one. But I have a Proton Mail account, and you can use YubiKey with Proton Mail, or you can have 2-factor on Proton Mail. So when we're coming to my cryptocurrency email address, there's going to be 2-factor on it. Period. End of story. So nobody's
Absolutely.
getting into my email asking or sending or talking or looking at my coin count or whatever it is without knowing that 2-factor method that I have set up, which I'm not disclosing on this call. I'm just saying you can use one or both of those. Let's see here. Would you please give some details about using a trust LLC, the do's, the don'ts, as far as sending and receiving dollars and coins? Can another person or entity other than myself send dollars to my trust or LLC? So you can actually set up with Caleb and Brown. For example, you might be married. This question came from Susan, so I'm assuming you might be married. You could say to your wife, or you could say to your husband, whichever you happen to be married to, hey, I want them to be on my account. So in my case, my wife is on all of my accounts. She has full access to do everything I do. On her accounts, which are totally separate from mine, trust accounts as well, she gave me full access. And so Caleb and Brown has a form you've got to fill out. You've got to send it in. It goes through a review process. They do a couple verifications. And once they're done, you're fully set up to do everything they can do. Now, the one thing that they do need verification from both people or both parties on is when it comes to wiring money to a bank account. Okay, so it's a little different there. We'll let them explain that to you. But everything else, you can buy coins, sell coins, trade coins, move coins, all that stuff. Would it be better to have a template? You guys have just hammered the questions in the last 30 seconds. That ain't gonna happen. I've literally got 5 more minutes, so we'll do 5 more minutes and I'm out. Would it be better to have a template form for orders that we can fill out? You're making it too hard. It's not that hard, guys. It really is not that hard. I start a new email, subject line is, and by the way, for me personally, because there's a lot of coins coming out with the same symbol, for me, if I'm doing OMG, it'll say in the subject line, market order for OMG dash OMISGO account blah 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 trust blah 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 LLC, and then in the body I'll say, please take $50,000 you have on hand and mark it by OMG ASAP. Thank you. Here's my ERC20 address I want the coins sent to. Dude, it's that easy. You could have that whole thing set up in Apple Notes. You could have that whole thing set up in a text format on your computer to where all you're doing is copy and pasting and changing the name of the coin. You guys don't need to make it harder than it is. Maybe there should be a form we fill out. No, come on, guys, don't make it so hard. It's so wonderful that you can actually talk to your broker. Yes, this is being recorded. It will go out. It probably will go on YouTube as well. ADA exchanges are offline via Exodus again. Wow, isn't it great that you have Caleb and Brown? By the way, did you guys hear him say we can exchange any crypto for any crypto? Do you know Uniswap doesn't do that? Do you know SushiSwap doesn't do that? Do you know 1inch doesn't do that? Do you know that at Binance Coin you can't do that? You can take any crypto you're holding and swap it to any crypto you want, and 5 fiat currencies, not just dollars, but 5 fiat currencies, and any crypto you want, one transaction. They don't say, well, you need to sell it to dollars first and then we'll go buy that one for you. I mean, that's just that's what's happening. They're selling it to some type of stable coin and then going and buying your coin, but they're just charging you one transaction. How beautiful is that?
Yep.
That is just beautiful. What happens when an email order is placed after hours or on weekends when our broker isn't there to receive the email? Well, if you've sent them a market order, which I think would be really silly to do when they're not there and they're not there, he gave you the 17 hours a day that they're there. So, it's 7 in the morning until midnight, Melbourne time. So if your time you're sending an order, you're going to get a response back from them when they wake up, and they wake up to 5 emails that have orders. Then they're going to place those. They are working on getting something in place for that kind of the middle of the New York session when they're really all of them are in bed. Okay. If you have a limit order, they're going to address that when they get up and they see the email. Now, if you send them an email during business hours and you say, hey, if Bitcoin gets to 62,000, please sell my Bitcoin. Here, I've already sent them to you. No matter whether they're awake or not, your order will be executed. Your order will be executed, whether they're awake or not. Let's see here. How does Caleb and Brown determine if they will trade on coin based on liquidity or the limit? So he kind of went through that already. They talked about what they can and can't do, and that kind of answers that question. I'm not going to read that one. Someone praising Jake, their broker. We're going to go to a question. Jake is awesome. I've not met anybody at Caleb and Brown that's not awesome, to be honest. I mean, I first started working, I was doing over the counter. I mean, I was looking at, multi-billion-dollar trades with Jackson Zing. He and I talked on the phone 5 days, five times a day. And that's kind of how this all got started. Please refer everyone to Caleb and Brown under review at the top and leave a 5-star review for them on their experience. Remind them a 5-star. Also, too, guys, listen, we've got it set up under our banner that you guys get a 1.5% savings on your trades, as well as some other perks and benefits like getting to leave your dollars in Australia. That all started with our group. Do make sure that you've told your broker that you are with brokers. Excuse me, I was about to give the name of one of my had the word broker on my name. Please tell them that you are with the Bitcoin Academy and let them know to make sure you're going to get the proper discount when you do your trading. Someone asks if they're buying their coins somewhere else, can they trade them at Caleb Brown? Absolutely. You might
Yeah.
buy them you might buy 5 positions for $500, and that grows up to be, a $25,000 portfolio. You can absolutely sell those at Caleb Brown, no problem. And now you're off and running, and you're kind of past their threshold. Can U.S. citizens set up LLC trust in another country to trade security tokens with Caleb Brown? They will not do security tokens for anybody. The issue is, guys, here's the issue. He already said it. The issue with if you send them an address and you say, send me $1 million worth of Bitcoin, and they send you an email out that says, hey, we're about to do this. Is this the proper address? And you say yes. When they send that Bitcoin, they can just go look at the blockchain and go, yes, it arrived in the address that Jay gave us. They can't do that with a security token. So it takes away all their ability. A client could literally say, we never got our coins. And if you think there's people out there that won't do that, you got another thing coming. Let me tell you guys about human beings. They love you in the morning, and they think you're wonderful and you're the best thing since sliced bread, and they will frigging kill you that night. And that's if they didn't kill you and eat you for dinner. That's what I've learned about human beings. That's the capacity of human beings. So I've had it happen to me since I got into crypto. I've had people recently say to me, well, you told me you sent my HBAR, but it's not in my wallet. And I had to go look on the blockchain and show them that it was in the wallet address that they sent me. Well, guess what? They sent me the wrong wallet address. They were wanting to make it my fault. My fault. When you give me something and you say, here's my address, and by the way, this person went away cussing and spitting, and I'm the worst, and I'm a scammer, and all the above, because they got it wrong. You see how people are? People don't own their own decisions. They don't take responsibility for things in their life. Everybody's playing the blame game, which is a wonderful failure disease. So if you want to fail, play the blame game. Let's see here. Would it be a problem selling 20 to 30 coins that we hold from 17 to 18 at once, even if we did not buy those coins through Caleb Brown? Not at all. No problem at all. Let's see. You're going to want to get your account. And guys, look, don't wait till the moment you need to sell your coins to learn how to do this. Call your broker up on the phone and say, look, I'm new with you. I'm holding 35 different coins. I'm thinking there's a time coming when I want to sell them. Can you walk me through the process of how I onboard my coins to you? And just let them do it. They'll work with you. That's the beauty about this. You can talk to them. Yeah, please, someone raise your hand and tell me which person it is you can talk to at Coinbase. Which person is you can talk to at Exodus that'll tell you how come the ADA wallet's locked up and you can't get your coins off the platform. By the way, you're going to see a lot of that during the bull market too. Not only is the wallet locked, but the wallet's locked with your coins in it and you can't move them. Get you some of that, folks. You're going to come back to what George and I have been trying to teach you, and you're going to go, I had no idea what a godsend you guys were. You really will.
Yep. You'll learn.
All right, guys, we're 4 minutes over. I hope you guys enjoyed this last live stream of this week. Also, the last live stream of February. Let me just tell you guys one last thing. There's a lot of new people in our Patreon, and you've come and you've heard everybody rave and say, Jay's the best, George is the best, these guys are awesome, we're making tons of money. I'm just telling you, you take it for what you want to. March, April, and May. I could be wrong, but I believe are going to be 3 of the most important months of 2021. Why? In short, it's going to be a time of taking profit. It's going to be a time of rebuilding portfolios. We have not done that together in 3 years. Okay, we haven't done that together. We're going to do that again at the end of 2021, where we're going to take profit. We may not be rebuilding portfolios as fast at the end of 2021, but here right in the middle of the bull, it's going to be a rather quick transition. And as I've said to you guys before, you got to trade your portfolio. I have to trade mine. If the numbers I'm looking for on all these coins are getting hit, you can bet I'm selling every single crypto I have. If that liquidity event does not happen, well, we're just waiting till the end of 2021, aren't we? But I have a really good feeling it is happening. I've been checking around with a lot of my contacts. They feel like it's happening. I even had a long conversation with the staff over at Caleb and Brown. I was talking to Jeff just 2 days ago, and I said, "Are you guys seeing this coming?" And he said, "Yeah, we are. We are seeing this coming." And so I told him, I said, "Well, get ready because we're going to sell every crypto we got." So guys, listen, not only is 2021 your year, but 2021 is my year too. George, 2021 is your year too. So guys, thanks for coming out on a Sunday evening. I hope you enjoyed this. I hope it was educational for you. And let's get on with March. Guys, more to come this week. George, you got the last word.
Have a great week, guys. We'll see you on Thursday.